Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. We've got a viewer writing in with a question about Sony versus Canon. What they want to know is, I guess I should tell you who's writing in. This is a comment on one of the videos. This was Rahul Makja Official. That's their YouTube username. I hope I'm saying that right. They write in and say A7S, so the Sony A7S, or the 6D Mark II. Canon 6D Mark II. Which one would be good for videos? Please suggest. So they're basically asking which one would I recommend between the two, the Sony a7S or the 6D Mark II. The 6D Mark II is going to be okay for videos, but the Sony a7S takes it in some pretty significant areas, namely three that I can think of right off the top of my head. The A7S is an incredible low light camera. It goes up to something like 409,600 ISO. It's a very, very good camera for low light. I had it here for review from Sony. I did some photos. I actually took it on an excursion to a wax museum in Niagara Falls, and it was pretty cool. So it was kind of low light in there and whatnot. And the levels you can shoot at with that thing is truly incredible. It's full frame and a low light beast. I don't think there's anything out there that beats it for low light, not to my knowledge anyways. So that's point one. It's incredibly good at low light, far superior to what the Canon 6D Mark II is going to be able to do. That's going to give you some pretty significant advantages when you're shooting video, because there's going to be situations where you can just crank up the ISO and still get very clean, usable video without having to bring in supplementary lighting. You might be in situations where you can't bring in supplementary lighting. In that case, the Sony a7S is definitely a huge advantage there. Now, the Sony a7S also has 4K video. And in this day and age, all cameras should have 4K video. There are some significant advantages to 4K. You can crop in post. You can make it look like you've got multiple camera angles all from one file. Basically, get your B-roll right out of your A-roll. There's a lot of things about 4K that are far superior to 1080. I mean, just 4K exported to 1080 looks better than stuff shot in 1080. There's just so many advantages, plus you're future dating yourself. I mean, shooting 1080 now, where 4K is already pretty much a de facto standard for shooting anyways, it's giving yourself a crippling effect for going into the future when you look back at that and you go, oh, now that we're at 8K or wherever we're at in the future, I really wish I had shot that in 4K because the 1080 is looking really dated. So that's number two. We've got 4K in the Sony. We don't in the Canon. Number three is that the A7S, Sony is one of the best out there for follow focus in video, as opposed to for instance, Canon's dual pixel AF. Canon's dual pixel AF is probably the best. Sony's a close second. So this is actually probably a point in favor of the Canon, but I'm bringing it up because the Sony is so close. Now, the A7S maybe not as good as some of the newer bodies like the A7R3 or the A6500 or the brand new Sony RX10 Mark IV that I'm currently reviewing, but you're probably not going to have too much trouble not having dual pixel AF in that Sony. So the main points here for the Sony, though, are the high ISO abilities, the 4K. Those are the two huge things that would weigh in for me to do video on the Sony. You can also use all the Canon lenses on the Sonys very easily with adapters, whether you're using the smart adapters or what I call dumb adapters that don't have the electronics and you just want to focus manually, which a lot of people do in video. You can use all the Sony lens or all the Canon lenses quite easily. And I think it's Sony even has their own adapter to maintain the electronics, the autofocus and whatnot. So, the A7S, much stronger video camera in my opinion. Canon 6D Mark II, decent video camera, but lacking in these areas. And if I was to choose between the two, I would definitely go with the Sony a7S. I'll throw it back out to you guys, though. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Is the Sony a7S the way to go for video? Would you go with the Canon 6D Mark II? If so, what are your reasons why? Let us know which way you would go and why. Let's help out our viewer here and give him an answer. Thanks for writing in with your answer, and stay tuned. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com.